All right, moving on to week 3 college football breakdown here. Going to start on Friday night. Nice little conference matchup here, Power 5 conference matchup, that is. We got Florida State traveling to Louisville, seeing the Noles actually as 2.5-point road favorites. That's up from the opening line of 1.5. And we've seen this total get steamed up from 54.5 to about 57.5. So pretty big move on the over as well. Last time we saw Florida State was in the Superdome against LSU. They had the bye week last week because they played week 0. I said preseason, I'm high on Florida State. I played them over the 6.5 wins. I think Jordan Travis is very underrated coming into the year. Florida State was 5-2 with Jordan Travis last year. Without him, because he dealt with injuries, they were 0-5. I mean, he's a pretty dynamic player. I think he has improved as a passer, but even last year, he's over 8 yards per attempt. I think he's actually a pretty good option for the Noles at quarterback. And, I really just like what they have around him. They got a lot better at wide receiver this offseason. I mean, they obviously added Micah Pittman from Oregon. Johnny Wilson was a transfer from Arizona State. They got a ton of length and big playability at that wide receiver position, but the mantra and the identity of this team is running the football. Now, did think LSU did a pretty good job stopping that. But, looking at this matchup at Louisville, give credit to Louisville because they, went on the road last week in a game they were 5.5, 6-point underdogs at UCF and won that game outright. So give credit where credit is due. But let's not also forget, this team laid a total egg in week 1 against Syracuse, who is a far inferior team, in my opinion, to Florida State. Syracuse had their way offensively. Garrett Schrader, who, I guess you could draw some comparisons between him and Jordan Travis. Both are pretty good with their legs. I think Travis is a much better passer, but Schrader was able to kind of dice that Louisville defense through the air. And quite frankly, if John Rice Plumlee of UCF had any acumen as a thrower, probably would have done the same thing. But as we saw this past Friday night, John Rice Plumlee can't throw the football. So if I'm Jordan Travis, if I'm this Florida State passing offense, this seems like a pretty favorable matchup. I mean, Louisville's better against the run. I like what they have at linebacker, but I think Florida State's got a really good run game too. So do think Florida State will have success offensively in this game. What makes betting Louisville games hard for me is that I do think Malik Cunningham at quarterback is a truly difference-making, game-changing kind of player. He's great with his legs, and I think he's really underrated as a passer as well. I mean, 2 underrated quarterbacks here. I mean, Malik Cunningham was at 9 yards per attempt last year. I really like that mark. Unfortunately for him, he just doesn't have a lot at receiver. I mean, if you think back to like 2020, Louisville had a really good core of receivers, and just kind of over time, that unit has deteriorated. And I think that's kind of hurt their overall passing game. Malik Cunningham can take over a game with his arm, and he can absolutely take over a game with his legs. Florida State just has such a defensive advantage in this game. I mean, they got 4 sacks against LSU. Think they can get after Cunningham in this one. They're good at the linebacking position, but their strength is really their secondary. So there's not a lot to not like about this Noles team. I don't know if I'm going to bet this, but we are getting a pretty favorable number, in my opinion, at 2.5. I know it's on the road, but this is the one thing about Louisville too. They are this close to just kind of totally falling apart. I mean, Scott Satterfield is on thin ice there at Louisville, and he has been for a while now. Part of me thinks that last week's win kind of had more to say about UCF and their inability to move the football through the air than it did Louisville. I mean, they still only put up 20 points in that spot. I do think Florida State wins this game. I was seeing it at 2.5 right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet it. I've actually already released 4 best bets here for week 3. Gave those out this morning here on Wednesday. Plan to have the rest of my week 3 card out by Thursday. Main place you can follow to see what I'm on officially is Twitter. Follow me there at Fordham Betting. One more thing, guys. Check out proud90.com for all your golf apparel needs. You see this shirt right here. I know you've been staring at it the whole time. They got unique but very comfortable polos as well. They got t-shirts, hoodies, quarter zips. Browse their selection, and if you see anything you like at checkout, use code Fordham. It's going to get you 15% off your order. The rest of the information will be in the description below. Proud90.com, code Fordham. Support me, support Proud90, proud90.com. Think this is actually a really good matchup on Friday night. We obviously saw Louisville last Friday night. So, good ACC battle here. I do lean pretty heavily with the Noles here.